Hello and welcome. Whether you are listening to this or watching this, this is another episode of the Youniverse podcast. And I wanted to speak to you today about soul alchemy. So, what is soul alchemy? It's basically the process of transforming fear into power for our life. So fearful mental, emotional states such as anxiety, depression, regret, resentment, sadness, grief, transforming these challenging negative states into fuel for your life. So if you have ever experienced any of these negative mind or emotional states, then this video is probably relevant for you. So soul alchemy for me has 3 pillars. So the first pillar is meditation, as represented by this painting here. So meditation as the process where you spend time regularly with yourself, watching your thoughts and watching your emotions, and slowly over time being able to make a gap between the you who is watching the thoughts and emotions and the thoughts and emotions themselves. And as your meditation practice progresses, this gap slowly becomes wider and wider, and you slowly start to gain a deeper and deeper understanding that these transient states, these thoughts, these emotions, particularly really negative, destructive, fearful mind states like anxiety and depression, are not you. They don't define you. They're not who you are. They are just a transient state which is there in that moment, but perhaps in the next moment is not there anymore. And the amazing thing about meditation is that the more you practice it, the bigger this gap becomes, and the stronger you become established in yourself as the observing consciousness, as awareness, as the one who is watching all of the ups and downs, the waves of your mind and emotions. And slowly, over time, these negative emotional states and mental states actually start to dissipate of their own accord. That's my experience of a meditation practice. So that is pillar number 1 of our soul alchemy practice, the 3 pillars of soul alchemy. Pillar number 2 is a yoga practice. So yoga takes meditation a step further into the physical realm. So in a yoga practice, we are working with our physical body, and through the postures, we can start to feel really deeply into our physical body, and we can start to notice where we might have stuck emotions in our energetic body. And just a note here, if we are not doing this in our yoga practice, if we're not feeling really deeply into our physical body and making these connections between our mental, emotional, and physical bodies, then we're not really doing yoga. We might be doing a great exercise or a great workout, but we're not really doing yoga. Yoga means to yoke, union, so it literally means integrating these 3 mind, body, spirit in one. So on the mat we can really feel deeply into our body, feel into all the different areas of our body, notice where there's tension, and use the yoga practice to slowly move through that tension and slowly release it and change it and allow it to dissipate. And this is an alchemical process where then we're able to unblock any stuck negative emotions that perhaps we weren't able to feel fully on the day that they came to us. So that is our second pillar. And our third pillar is creative practice. So the third pillar of the Soul Alchemy process is creative practice. And I wanted to just use this painting here as a good demonstration for how creativity works as a soul alchemy process. So I painted this in Bali a few years ago, and it actually goes with a song called Temple in the Rain. And it's really, this painting is really about moving through your inner temple. So moving through the gates, your inner gates, the gates of fear within yourself, stepping into the next level of you, so the next level of your incarnation as a soul on earth. And to me, this is what creativity really helps us to do. So you can see the woman stepping through these gates, which are like representations of her inner gates of fear, where she is afraid to tread. She steps through, and you see on the other side, the light is actually pulling her through those gates. And that, to me, is the light of her higher self, calling her to step through her fears and into her own radiance. So creativity as a practice is a soul alchemy practice because it helps us to really basically have a conversation with our higher self. And our higher self here, as represented by this light, is always guiding us to our next step in life, to our next incarnation, to our next job, or our next career, or our next relationship, perhaps. Our higher self, I believe, really knows our direction and our path in life. And our job is really to get out of our own way. So we don't really need to think really hard about this, but we do need to get out of our own way in order for our higher self to direct us. So creative practice is a really powerful way of activating this conversation with your higher self or your inner self, and downloading, if you like, your next steps for what to do in your life, the next steps in your life journey. So I wanted just to finish by reading you this beautiful poem by an American poet called Mary Oliver, who died in 2019. And she lived in North America, in Massachusetts, I think, and then Florida. So she was very much a soul alchemist poet, writing a lot about the relationship of humans and nature. So this is one of her most famous poems. It's called Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes. over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. So this journey of soul alchemy is really all about finding your place in the family of things, which to me is really the global family. So it's all of us. So it's about finding your place in this universe over time, and creative practice is a really, really powerful way of doing that. So thank you for listening. I hope this has been helpful for you, and feel free to join me on an upcoming poetry workshop I have, where I will help you go through your own soul alchemy process to write some of your own poems. So thank you so much, and sending you loads of blessings from here in Melbourne, Australia. Namaste.